Okay. Hold on, ma'am. I just got your message, and I wanted to. Bear with me. I think this will be fascinating for somebody. So, yeah, as you know, I contacted you with, for whatever reasons. So, with that said, I got your reply, which was very hard to read because it's micro text. So, with that known, I am aware that there. I previously discovered that there can be benefits to having multiple phones, even if one doesn't necessarily even have, you know, reception. So, this is perhaps one of those times. Bear with me, please. So, I grabbed my old crappy broken phone with the broken screen, but still works. And the better good phone, the best good phone, the current brand new one, a Google Pixel, whatever the crap that's really pretty cool, except, you know, small screen, etc. I'm using that one to record while I'm reading off of the broken one with the cracked screen that is now hooked up to the hotspot of the Pixel you're currently watching this. Let me back up. That I am currently using to record me right now. I don't know how you are watching this. Let's not make any assumptions. With that known, let me just make sure I got everything right. Oh. Auto rotate. That's always a bitch too, right? Come on. Mm-hmm. What the hell? Variables in life that aren't always fun to deal with. Okay, so here. Court reporting in action. Perhaps I should pause and say, let's assume I have zero fucking idea of what you are referring to, of course. So I would most likely want to call you personally. So, with that known, let's say I can't for some reason. This might be what I would do. Who knows? Court reporting in action. Well, I noticed that's interesting how it's scribbled out. So yeah. What court? Who's this court reporter? There will be no deviant sexual predator board housing in Jackson Township on my job. Who the fuck said that? Let me back up, make sure. Court reporting in action. There will be no deviant sexual predator board housing. Deviant sexual predator board housing. That's, you know, bear with me, please. Deviant sexual predator. What is deviant mean? Sexual predator housing. Board. Well, deviant sexual board housing. What is a sexual, oh boy, word order and all that sentence structure and stuff that, you know, I'm hyper aware of, double negatives and all that crap. Okay, yeah, son of an English professor. Okay. No deviant sexual predator board housing. So I know that no is a negative thing. Deviant sexual predator is a thing. So there will be no board housing in Jackson Township on my job. And according to this unsighted person. Okay, well, that's interesting. Let's all just read into that, whatever the hell we think it means. Of course, this unnamed person couldn't help and asked for a motion, fancy word there, until someone off board. I notice it's kind of clipped there where I can't quite see. Until someone on board. Ooh. See, I made a slip there. Let me just make sure I got this right again. Of course, this unnamed person couldn't help themselves and asked for a fancy word, which, let's just pause. Humor me. Motion. Let's just get some established variables because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, right? Motion. I just know that seems to be a fancy word, and my mom taught me about a lot of those fancy words, not necessarily this particular one. It appears to be a temporary suspension or ban on a specific activity, law, or obligation, often enacted by some sort of government or authority. So wait. I just know that it seems that we have a pause. That's all I can deduct. Okay, with that known, back to what I at least assume it might mean here. Because them assumptions and crap, and perspective and crap. Okay. So this unnamed person couldn't help themselves ask for this thing until someone on board, assuming they mean on that thing of the board, I don't know. Oh my God. Until someone on board can make a decision and solicitor said, wait, what? Who's this solicitor or what? But whoever this unknown person is referring to said, in this other possible unknown person's opinion, it couldn't work. Meaning a new supervisor is coming in January 5 and didn't feel the need to show up. Wait, what? Okay. So thanks, Jackson Township resident, who the fuck that is, for showing up with people standing to protect our innocence. Who was this person that showed up with all these people to protect our innocence? Both children and elderly. If nothing else, we can deduct that usually the elderly are less innocent. Of course, they like found really Jesus or something and maybe became more innocent. Who knows? Respectfully, for Christ's sake. Who puts a group home of any sort, I guess? Well, any sort of group home, like even a retirement community, who would do such a thing? In agricultural district where there's no cell phone service. I do know that this area has decently amount of cell phone service, a couple of those spots, but or police jurisdiction. Again, I know that this place has a decent amount of police jurisdiction, but we're additionally possibly 20 minutes away from a town, so is that close or is that far? I don't know. Oh my gosh. So, all I know is there will not be a deviant sexual predator board housing meeting. More specifically, wait. Although, all I can say is I highly do know something. Give me the chance to explain, because somebody told me about this possible meeting involving, trying to prevent deviant sexual predators, in particular repeat deviant sexual predators, apparently, which, and there's going to be a meeting about it coming up, and there's going to be hundreds of people showing up to address this. I am so glad we talked about this, man. So anyways, let me just calm down for a second. Bear with me. If anything else, you'll be able to explain why I'm not crazy. I'm gonna pause a little bit. Make sure I'm taking my daily medication. Think about things logically. With the assumption that I'm definitely not on drugs, of course. But also I'm taking enough drugs, as in my medication, which is what I'm doing right now. Because I don't want to read too far into something that doesn't pertain to me. Okay. Humor me, please. This should be interesting. So now referring back to my cracked phone that I can read other things on, hooked up to the hotspot while I'm recording this. With all that crap known, I believe you're referring to a previous discussion. Well, how shall we approach this? I could talk about the previous discussion up until now, or well, let's just not. So, with that known, I would just say that earlier, another unnamed individual pointed out to me that they were curious about this meeting themselves, which, made me even more perhaps curious. So all I know is during the course of my deductions, I couldn't seem to find anything about this crap. Bear with me. So all I know is sometimes phones aren't so helpful when they aren't perfectly synced. But anyways, so I know that I'm pretty sure this unnamed individual told me that they were curious as well. So they did some detective working, and it led to all sorts of things that didn't make sense. Couldn't seem to find out any sort of logical information. Matter of fact, it involved names that were super common, but tons of them apparently all across the U.S. But that was perfectly rational because these particular individuals were Amish and or Mennonite, which would make sense why they would have less of a web presence, of course. So, with that known, I'm still, what the heck is going on here? Especially, I can imagine the frustration of the person that told me this. Yeah. So at this point, I am additionally interested, if nothing else. So, I do know that, oh, yes, because of breadcrumbs and stuff, maybe I referred to some smarter than me people's opinion because I could be dumb as a fucking rock. So, with that known, I do consider you to be one of them, and a few other people. So, some of these people live no fucking where around here, of course. Let's see if they made the damn same possible thing as me or this other person. Pause. I just need to. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to pause, actually. Okay, I found my place. Aha. So, in asking this person the question, okay, I've attempted to ask this to others and received accusations of being crazy, using circular logic, which interesting because that's that thing where it's based on a particular point of logic and things seem to come back to it. And typically that is referred to as a bad thing, meaning you're crazy. But is also additionally an actual real thing if reality exists to anybody. So yes, again, received accusations of being crazy, using circular logic, caring too much, being illogical, etc., etc. All I know is, at this point, it doesn't involve me. So why should I fucking care, right? And yeah, being illogical and or crazy, I don't want to be accused of those things, right? So I should definitely quit caring, especially since it doesn't involve me. But you know that in the quest for knowledge, I have zero problems being shown that I'm wrong. This is what I'm reading verbatim in case you're, or here we go. And take your time to absorb all the info. No hurry. Please do, because, yeah, I have receipts. I go on to further elaborate. I have tried to refine my points since then. Imagine all of this when people keep interrupting. For example, I'm talking about my mother in particular, possibly, who knows. So, before being accused of being something other than logical. Again, I am reading this verbatim as we speak. I'd ask, what would you do? Nope, 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 not answering that, Mandy. Nope, nope, you gotta wait. Pause. Mm-hmm. Nope, you gotta wait. Nope, nope, nope. Because I could, that's a separate thing. There's always a realistic possibility that I'm, completely dead. But because it's warm in winter, I assume it's not hell. But if it gets too warm, it might be hell. So let's not even. Okay, back to the subject at hand. I hope that can wait. We will see, unless I'm interrupted multiple times. Then perhaps I would get. Anyways, back to the thing at hand. I would ask, what would you do if you heard about hundreds of people showing up to a meeting about some sex offenders and concern about them in the future, when you noticed that the flyer that seemed to have started it all doesn't actually even say anything about that phrase? Sex offenders. Well, we're 21 minutes into it, but bear with me. I think we will find this fascinating. So with that note, there's this link here. Let's see what the heck this person typed a link to. I know nothing. Who does know anything at all? Even experts, right? This flyer. Oh, it appears to be that flyer specifically. There may be a thing that should be rewound. Yeah, I know that I asked to see this specific flyer that the specifics were in, and yeah, I'll be happy to include this. Okay, that is awesome. Bear with me. Oh, this is where it is handy to have two phones. I don't know if you saw that message or not, but I definitely did. So, with that known, because of my ability to have more than one phone, which is, not as good as three phones perhaps, but it seems to be better than one, which is always at least better than none. All right. If any of this doesn't make sense, just ask. It says, I'm fixing to leave to go get cigarettes from the store and oil from your mother's. Did you sleep at all last night? And I'm going to reply back, F you, I certainly did. For side conversation, tell her I'm concerned about her. She seems to be going crazy. I'm worried, concerned, that she is not taking her medicine. Or on drugs. Or hasn't been getting enough sleep. She seems to be using circular logic. Bear with me. Lately. Send. I hear the door opening. I suspect I'm about to get a guest right now, which would be awesome as well. Or not. Okay. Back to the conversation at hand. This flyer. Oh, how did I get this flyer? Ask me it. Oh, 10% battery. Can't be, let's plug that son of a bitch in just to make sure that nothing else goes wrong. Separate conversation, perhaps, Marissa. If someone theoretically found out something involving technology, how could they possibly predict? No, excuse me, involving technology that might, make the world a bad place. How could they possibly show anybody that? Even substantial evidence to that effect. Take that for what it's worth. We'll challenge you. Anyways, again, since I'm well rested from getting many hours of sleep last night, I'm gonna calmly pause to think logically, make sure, all that stuff. And I have at least taken a fair amount of drugs so far, my medication. Perhaps I should take more, I don't know. We definitely don't want to take too much drugs or too little drugs sometimes. Who knows? Additionally, please remember, my mother is an English professor, which makes me, hyper aware perhaps of things like sentence structure, double negatives, etc., etc. And how that stuff can be crucial. And additionally, with my history of dating a person with a master's degree in psychology, I'm aware of these things like perception, perhaps more so than others. Who knows? Oh, they're saying they want to know if I want to go with. I'm going to reply back. I don't care. I have to finish this video first, though. I don't care. Hang on. If you see my hands shaking, be aware that that's what I take Xanax for. Perhaps I should take more, but again, wouldn't want to take too much. Can you wait? And that better not get the reply, maybe. Until I'm finished filming this video for somebody. Or I'm just going to say something. Watch how this goes. Can you wait until I finish something first? Okay. I really... Wait. If not, talk to me in person. They're trying to type back real fast. Oh, yeah, got it. Okay. Back to the attention thing at hand. Car's warming up. But it's also cooling down. Because it's cold. Okay, they will be up in a minute. Oh my gosh. Ma'am, I am so glad that you humored me so far, at least. Mm-hmm. Other people have not. Please bear with me. This might be fascinating to some people. It sure as heck does appear that way to me. I would love to wait, but let's assume that they might take forever. Back to the attention of the thing at hand. We were discussing, that whole flyer thing. And so that flyer was extremely vague. So I asked the person who told this whole thing to me about the big meeting with hundreds of people showing up, where did it originate from? And I was told this unnamed person, but I will say that they were very real because I called them. I said, "Can you give me their number? I would like to call them to see where they got this flyer from." So they were nice enough to send me the flyer that I'm read, that mentioned none of them words. So it's only logical to proceed to the next step, which was and of course, the thing about messages, hard to get back to the first when somebody interrupts you. But with that known, where was it? Okay, here we go. There seems to be, that flyer. Okay. So at that point, I start Googling around. Jackson Township, or insert whatever township you want at this point. And, sexual predators. I think that's the word, sexual offenders, excuse me. And, the words of that local county. And concern, that's the thing. It's like, you find all sorts of shit when you type in sexual offenders and your local county, right? So I'm thinking to add the additional words of like, meeting and concerns. And that leads me to this little tiny thing from WTAJ.com news. Bear with me. Oh my gosh, for 32 minutes, I'm doing my fastest I am. I didn't even pause to, So I will, let's pause to make sure that's fully addressed. CBD, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, etc., yoga, whatever. Now that we are centered. Things that my the person with the master's degree in psychology also was adamant about. I participated in those things. Unrelated thing, conversation. At one point, the new therapist I'm talking to wants to observe me doing these things, and I, of course, told her how it felt like being watched praying and judged upon doing so. But that's irrelevant. Anyways, back to the article at hand. WTAJ, residents of Jackson Township, blah, 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 about a proposed transitional residential facility that would house previous sex offenders. What's this all about? The community has rallied together, starting a Change.org petition that has gathered nearly 300 signatures out of the township's population of approximately 900 people. That's at least a third. That's a pretty significant amount. Possibly. Maybe not. Who knows? The mother that was an English professor may be aware of things like subjective terms and terminology. So proceed as any of us wish. We can at least establish that 1/3 of the population. So, subjective terms and terminology. can be crucial. You might be noticing that in your local news lately, especially in your national news, where, yeah, they put all sorts of additional context as well nowadays while they dance around subjects. It says, we just, oh boy, I'm going to censor names at this point and maybe refer to them as like name 1, name 2, name 3. Okay. We just feel that it's a very big risk in this very rural area, said name number K, a Jackson Township resident. Not only for the safety of us as residents, but also for the safety of the people that they're trying to put in these homes. Separate person, name number E, another resident, as in not me. Oh, like, let's be more specific. Name number EMF. How's that? Address the community's efforts to ensure safety measures are in place if the facility is built. We understand that we can't prevent them from doing this because that would be discrimination. And we're not trying to discriminate. EMF said. We also want to make sure that we put in place in the township rules and regulations something that would make it safe. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I agree with that. An ordinance has been submitted to the township solicitor to address these concerns, and an emergency meeting is scheduled for December 15th. What's today's date? Out of curiosity, just to double check. Oh, it's the 16th. I am very curious how that meeting went. That might be how you got that thing you sent me. At the Stone where location, yeah, a fire hall, to discuss the issue further. EMF also raised concerns about the lack of licensing requirements for the facility operators, noting that they do not receive state funding and are exempt from certain regulations. I'd say the biggest concern is the lack of licensing and requirements, as stated by EMF here. Residents are hopeful that their concerns will be heard and the facility will be relocated elsewhere. Well, of course, who wouldn't want it to be located elsewhere? Who would not want it to be located elsewhere? That's a very valid point. I also remember that, I took a small little course in college with, my fancy 2-year degree in an antiquated field involving, technology. But anyways, I had to take this elective, and it involved, I don't even remember specifically, environmental concerns or some sort. And we discussed that word, NIMBY, not in my backyard. Yeah. So we definitely don't want it to be in our backyard. Nobody does. We flat out said that this is not a place to do it. We're too rural to have this. Or maybe not rural enough. The community's efforts to address the proposed facility highlight the importance of local engagement in decision-making processes. All valid. The upcoming emergency meeting will be a critical moment for residents to voice their concerns and seek solutions. Oh boy, I sure wish I had gone to this meeting, I think. Okay. All I know from that is I was a little bit perplexed. So in the additional course of my thing, let's go to that change.org thing and see if we can get some more details from that. That would be fascinating. Let's get specific, because we want to be prepared when we go to this meeting to talk about stuff. Reading. Oh, I noticed now it has 453 verified signatures in a town of 900 people. Wow, that is, let's do some quick math, more than half. Even if it's just barely, it is more than half. And their goal is to get 500 signatures. Well, they're definitely seem to be on their way. Hope they make it before this meeting, especially. Anyways, it's been, the issue. As a dedicated member of my community, I am deeply concerned about the safety and welfare of our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a place where families thrive, where children play freely, and where residents find solace in the comfort of their homes. I would hope everybody would think that, but whatever. However, recent events have raised alarming concerns about the presence of sex offenders in rental properties or so-called transitional residential facilities, posing significant risks to our loved ones and undermining the peace we cherish. Transitional residential facilities that also don't mention the word sex offenders of any sort, or especially not repeat sex offenders. All I know is I've never been one of them things, I hope. In response to this urgent issue, I propose enacting a comprehensive ordinance designed to impose strict licensing, operational spacing, public safety, inspection, financial security requirements on transitional residential facilities. The primary aim of this ordinance is to effectively regulate facilities and operations without also infringing on the rights of the individuals. I put that word also in there. But anyways, by doing so, we can prevent public nuisances, safeguarding surrounding properties, mitigate safety concern risks, and preserve the welfare of our entire community of 900 people. So yes, that's a large amount of a small town. Research consistently shows that proper regulations of TRF properties leads to a decrease in criminal activities. Well, that's certainly interesting. A decrease. I would think that, including those committed by sex offenders. So wait, pause. So these TRF things lead to a decrease in criminal activity, including those committed by the people they're worried about. This is what really caught my attention. By addressing key components such as licensing procedures, ensuring rigorous inspections, and enforcing substantial financial security requirements, we can create a safer and more secure environment for all residents. I call upon local policymakers, community leaders, and residents alike to support this initiative. By implementing these necessary regulations, we are taking proactive steps to protect our children, families, and the integrity of our neighborhoods. Who wouldn't want to do that? Let's unite in our commitment to uphold community welfare and prevent the infiltration or harmful elements into our cherished spaces. Sign this petition to urge the local authorities. I would assume they mean, it could be one way, it could be the other, but the most local authorities, whatever, and shield our community from potential threats. All admirable things to do. I'm on board so far. Together, we can make a difference and ensure a bright and secure future for generations to come. Because if anything else, we definitely want to stop this thing that's started with this recent events that aren't stated. We don't want that to happen again, because otherwise these TRFs would come into the community, and as stated in here, we definitely want to address the research that consistently shows that proper regulation of TRF properties leads to a decrease in these criminal activities, including those committed by sex offenders. So we gotta prevent that. Okay. Still confused as fuck? Me too. Yeah. So Oh, yeah, so I'm Googling around using these search terms and, the things that like critical thinking taught us to do, trying to find out what the heck more. And I also stumble upon, Well, here we go.
We're gonna kick your door. Are you dumb?
It's a.
Y'all getting in trouble for kicking my door?
It looks like your window was struck by a round. So
What the heck? Here we go.
Worried for their community. A group is coming together in a small Huntington County township to raise concerns over a proposal transitional residential facility or halfway house. Tristan Kleinfelter shares what they hope township leaders will consider.
We just feel that it's a very big risk in this very rural area, not only for the safety of us as residents, but also for the safety of the people that they're trying to put into these homes.
Kristen Croyle lives in Jackson Township, and she's talking about a proposal for a transitional residential.
I am curious why they're concerned about the safety of these people that they don't want in the community. That's interesting. But, I agree with everything else, of course.
Facility that would house previous sex offenders. She's not alone in her concerns. Many residents say their township isn't a good choice, citing no public transportation, few.
Who would say our local area is a good choice? I'll just point that out,
No jobs, a school within 5 miles, and a bus stop nearby the residents.
There's children everywhere. We have children that ride bikes all over the place. They fish, they hunt, they're always doing, they're riding bikes.
The group came together and started this change.org petition outlining their concerns and a call for action. They're hoping to garner enough support and already have nearly 300 signatures, which is about a third of the township's population.
I think that's a really good chunk of our community that is in support of it. And we also sent out a letter just yesterday to make everybody aware of what's going on.
The residents say an ordinance is being submitted to the township solicitor to ensure the facility, if complete, is safe and run properly.
Yeah, we understand that we can't prevent them from doing this because that would be discrimination.
I'm not going to show this person's face, but it is the EMF person I referred to earlier talking. Let me just back up just a smidge.
To ensure the facility, if complete, is safe and run properly.
Yeah, we understand that we can't prevent them from doing this because that would be discrimination. And we're not trying to discriminate, but we also want to make sure that we put in place in the township rules and regulations that would make it safe if this goes through. But we're really hoping that they hear our concerns and decide to do this elsewhere, not in our community.
An emergency
So wait. Pause. We understand that would be discrimination. And we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to express concerns. Okay.
Is being held on December 15th at the Stone Creek Valley Fire Hall for the Board of Supervisors. WTAJ has reached out to the board and has not received a response. In Huntington County, Tristan Kleinfelter, WTAJ News.
I don't mind putting that name out there, the person Kristen Klein or whatever. Yeah. And I don't mind pointing out WTHJ. Yeah, take that for what
Here
it's all
to
worth.
understand just what happened on the Senate
I
floor.
perhaps think that a certain person might care, but whatever, that's irrelevant. I tried my best. So with that known, Googling on, and this is me reading back the thing that I said to this other person. Oh boy, because I think logically, I Googled things like sex offender house hoax. Just to see, because I don't know, this definitely sounds weird, right? And I found this. A video. We're all at 49 minutes. Concern over one of these places that apparently did have sex offenders, and how courts, at least in the state of California, overturned things like Jessica's Law because that would be considered discriminatory and prevent sex offenders from living anywhere, like even the moon. Like, but theoretically, at least in the America, in the United States, at least. But as evidence of how this could be dangerous, being the sex offenders living anywhere, they referred to numerous calls to police. Numerous. At least more than one. Possibly just only two. That result in a single arrest of someone who was apparently not previously known to be a sex offender. As in, none of the known sex offenders living in this house. Whew. Oh boy, I hope you got patience for about 5 more darn minutes. Yes. I was always told that in order to establish a pattern, you need more than one of equal variables. Pause. I am.
You got a cigarette?
Certainly. Help yourself. Have them all. Don't let me.
You are fucking out there this morning. What's up?
Perhaps. So, no, this is important, please. I have to. This is an important person I'm talking to. More important than me or you. I know that. So please. Yes, that is established variable. Shut the fuck up. What this video certainly seems to imply is that 0 of these known sex offenders were arrested there, which would certainly imply that this halfway house was actually working. But if for the sake of knowledge, and this will take a quick another minute or two and we are done wrapping it up. The video in question, come on, show the fuck up.
Eyewitness News investigates. Do you know if a registered sex offender is living next door? When the answer turned out to be yes, it was a shock for neighbors in one of the best-known communities here in the Valley. It's a neighborhood known for stately homes and a holiday tradition. I took a deep dive to see what was going on, to see how convicted sex offenders could live in a neighborhood close to an elementary school and a church. Fresno's Christmas Tree Lane draws more than 100,000 visitors every year. Just 2 blocks away from the trees filled with colored lights are 2 homes where multiple registered sex offenders live. The homes sit next to each other at Gettysburg and Palm in the old Fig Garden neighborhood. One of the homes was the scene of a shooting on a Saturday night in August. Investigators say a woman broke into the home, opened fire, injuring one of the registered sex offenders who lives there.
The person did go to the hospital, but we believe they're going to be okay.
Investigators say the woman charged in the shooting was targeting a man
I am rather curious if that person was actually a registered known sex offender, but, it could have just been one of them other criminals. Who knows?
He believes abused her family member.
She believes.
It was a reminder to neighbors that there were convicted sex offenders living nearby, and it led to a discussion on the social media platform Nextdoor.
There's quite an uproar on Nextdoor. There's an uproar in the neighborhood. People are talking about it. They're very concerned. And so here we are.
So.
Beverly Rain lives about a block away from the 2 homes that are run by the Centers for Living, owned and operated by John Coyle. The organization's website says they provide a safe, sober, and empowering housing environment for people who are displaced. But Beverly and other neighbors say the homes have made the area unsafe, and the Fresno Sheriff's Department has responded to many calls from inside the homes.
There have been problems from day one, and it is now years down the road. There have been incidents after incident after incident, and no one told us that we have registered sex offenders there, and not just one.
She says that.
So we have at least more than 3 incidences involving these sex offenders that are more than just one.
Neighbors were under the impression that the homes are sober living facilities treating alcohol and drug addiction. But a recent check of the Megan's Law website shows multiple registered sex offenders live at the 2 homes on Gettysburg.
Multiple. We do know from this picture that it's at least 3, but, definitely more than 2. Okay.
Their crimes range from lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14 to continuous sexual abuse of a child.
When you tell me that sexual predators are living there, it's really concerning because it's across from a church and next to a primary school. And so you have young children.
Just across Palm and Gettysburg is the Well Church, which advertises youth groups for middle school and high school students. The school is Wawona K through 8th. How can registered sex offenders live so close? Jessica's law, passed by California voters in 2006, restricted where sex offenders could live. But that was changed in 2015 when the California Supreme Court ruled the housing requirements were too restrictive, preventing them from living anywhere. So now sex offenders can legally live in neighborhoods like this. The Fresno sheriff says his deputies are called to these two homes more often than any other home in the neighborhood.
When you look at
For what? Anything from actual legitimate concerns to, who knows, lots of illegitimate concerns. Who knows?
my numbers right here at 41 calls year to date and over 50 calls last year. Your average residential house.
Wait. I did notice that that's less calls than last year, at least to date.
Doesn't have nearly that many calls.
41 calls as of September, 50 calls in 2024, and one of those calls in March was to arrest 34-year-old Bradford Morrison on charges of possessing child sex abuse material.
There's not a lot.
This was rather fascinating to me as well, because you notice the reporter did not say previous known sex offender or, read into that whatever you want. I just observed that.
We can do when these homes come in and they offer this particular type of service because the law is in their favor.
Sheriff Zanoni says the two homes are considered transitional housing, like a halfway house for those out of prison or in recovery. And that's different than a facility that offers medical treatment for addiction.
If their drug and alcohol abuse treatment is 24/7, then they have to get a certain licensing for it. If it's not, they don't need that licensing, and then all they have to do is comply with local ordinances and zoning laws.
I spoke with the owners of the homes. They didn't want to appear on camera, but in an email exchange they wrote, "Centers for Living is not a sex offender home. We are a faith-based transitional living ministry that serves men and women emerging from homelessness, incarceration, addiction, and hardship of every kind. We love all and serve all without discrimination. We ask only for fairness and accuracy in how our work is portrayed."
Hey, that's
What's
about
your
point
advice to the
two.
neighbors who live near these homes?
Pay attention, call us, do your best to be vigilant, and we'll do our best to come out and handle these situations. And it can't be every day where we're serving a search warrant out there, but it's good if you call, because I think it keeps individuals, what I call, on their toes, and keeps them paying attention and lets them know, hey, the neighbors aren't just going to let you do whatever you want to do around here.
In the meantime,
Wait,
have
pause. I am slightly curious how he knows that they can't be out there every day, but whatever.
changed the way they live.
And so we locked all of our gates. We put an electric gate in. We have got 8 cameras that we now have monitoring all the time. And we went from Labradors to German Shepherds and Queens and Heelers.
Fresno County leaders are looking at issues at the two homes in Old Fig Garden, and they are considering changes to local laws to address the neighbors' concerns and also increase safety in neighborhoods that have these transitional housing facilities. We'll have that story for you tomorrow night, right here on Eyewitness News at 7.
Boy, I am so curious how that thing went. Yeah, I'll get back to it. But I did notice one other last little thingy here. Wait. Go back to that goddamn video. Excuse me, anybody who's religious that's listening. Oh boy, here it is. All right, back to the damn thing. Oh, wait, well, I'm perhaps fast forwarding. Let's continue on with the thing that I stated to this third person involved that whose initials are GS, who is additionally a professor, and in addition to you and my mother. So yes, with that known, come on. Oh, interesting enough. Perhaps. Who the fuck knows? The entire conversation seems to have disappeared now. But I'm sure to God they have it on their end. Slow down, think logically here. Whoa. No. Pause. Back to that goddamn video. if nothing else, if nothing else, I observed a comment in that video. Oh, Jim, no, now it's asking me to connect my devices. Absolutely not. Nope, not now. So, let me go to my history. Think logically. It's no longer in my phone history. I sure as fuck hope it's in yours. We're reaching that hour point. Okay, I know that the Huntington County residence thing is still in my search history. Positive about that. That's where we're at right now, ma'am. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me. What would you have done in this scenario? Because we certainly want to prevent these houses that have been shown to be successful in yeah. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Hopefully you'll get back to me. Bye.